Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Elizabeth and I'm a holistic health and embodiment coach, and I help women heal through a mind, body, and spirit approach by supporting the nervous system, gut and hormone health, self-love and embodiment, emotional healing, and reconnecting with their authentic selves. And today I want to talk about a word that gets used constantly in the spiritual world, which is alignment. You'll hear people say things like, I'm getting into alignment, that's not aligned for me, I manifest from alignment, create an aligned life. But what does alignment actually mean? Because many people hear the word and assume it means things like being happy all the time, or attracting everything you want, or somehow reaching a state where life becomes easy. But in reality, alignment is much deeper than that. So today we're going to explore what alignment truly means, how your nervous system can impact your ability to live in a place of alignment, how your birth chart can provide clues about your soul's growth path, and practical ways that you can begin creating a life that feels more authentic and aligned to who you truly are. So let's dive into today's topic. First of all, let's start with what alignment really is. At its core, alignment means being in harmony with your authentic self. It's when your thoughts, values, actions, choices, relationships, and lifestyle are all moving in the same direction. Alignment is not perfection. Alignment is not having no challenges in life to deal with. Alignment is not manifesting everything instantly, although that can certainly happen at times. Alignment is truth. It's the feeling that your outer life reflects your inner truth. Many people spend years living out of alignment, as I had, because they're living according to things like other people's expectations of them and conditioning, survival patterns, a sense of fear, obligation, old identities that no longer fit, and eventually the body begins to feel that disconnect. You may even possibly eventually start to feel maybe mental health issues like depression or anxiety after spending so long not living a life that feels truly aligned to you. Your spirit always knows. So in part 2, let's go over the topic of survival mode versus alignment. Because one of the biggest barriers to alignment is living in survival mode. When the nervous system is stuck in that state of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, our primary focus becomes safety, not authenticity. So many people find themselves in careers, relationships, and lifestyles that don't actually feel aligned to them. Not because they're doing something wrong, but because their nervous system learned things like, do whatever keeps you safe. Many women become things like people pleasers, caretakers, overachievers, perfectionists, or hyper independent for this reason. Not because it's who they truly are, but because it helped them to survive. Alignment often begins when we start asking questions like, who am I underneath these patterns? The key is to recognizing the pattern that you're living in. So next, let's discuss Carl Jung and the persona. I went over this topic briefly in my last video if you want to go back and watch it. But basically, Carl Jung offers a powerful framework for understanding alignment. Jung taught about something he called the persona. The persona is the mask that we wear to gain acceptance, approval, and belonging. The problem is not having a persona. The problem is becoming trapped inside of it, myself included for many years. Many people become so identified with their roles that they begin to lose touch with their authentic self. They do things like becoming the good daughter, the caretaker, the peacekeeper, the achiever, the strong one, the helper. And often around the age of, say, your 40s is when you may start to feel the weight of the persona become so unbearable that you feel no choice but to start making changes in your life. Alignment often requires questioning things like, who am I beneath the role? Who am I when I'm not performing for others? Who am I when I'm not trying to earn things like love or approval? This is why awakening can feel uncomfortable at times. The persona begins to crack and the authentic self begins to emerge. Next, let's discuss what your birth chart can teach you in all this. Because one of the reasons I personally love astrology is because it offers another lens for understanding alignment. I honestly wish I had my chart read much earlier in life because it provided so many answers for me that just made sense. I don't believe your birth chart determines your fate, but I do believe it offers clues about your soul's lessons, strengths, challenges, and growth opportunities in this lifetime. For a few examples can be your Chiron placement. Chiron often points to our deepest wounds, the area where we may not feel enough, feel rejected, or feel unworthy or challenged. But it also points towards healing. Many times our greatest wounds become our greatest wisdom. I know this was true for me. Often it redefines our sense of identity and purpose. For many people who were born between the years of 1976 and 1984, right now your Chiron return may be happening for you right now. It may have recently happened for you or might be approaching depending on what your birth date is and your Chiron placement. Typically around the ages of 49 to 51, it can happen, and many astrologers compare that to a midlife spiritual awakening, which is, I bet, where the term midlife crisis came from. Because when people get rid of the mask or the persona and the expectations, they start making big life changes that feel more aligned to them during that time period. Also, the North Node is another. The North Node often represents qualities your soul is learning to develop in this lifetime. It points towards growth and expansion and purpose and becoming more fully yourself. Often your North Node will feel unfamiliar at first because it requires moving beyond old comfort zones. Also, your Saturn placement. Saturn shows us where growth requires maturity, responsibility, boundaries, and lessons. It often reveals areas where life asks us to develop mastery of some kind. And also there's the houses of your birth chart. The houses can also provide clues about where your soul is focused on that growth, development, and evolution. When viewed through a growth-oriented lens, astrology can become a powerful self-awareness tool, and you might find that it answers many questions for you as well. Let's move on to the spiritual side of alignment, because many spiritual traditions speak about alignment in different ways, like the law of correspondence that I've mentioned before teaches as within, so without, meaning your outer reality often reflects your inner state. If internally you feel disconnected from yourself, your external life may be reflecting that disconnect. The law of vibration, another that teaches that everything carries energy, your thoughts, your emotions, beliefs, choices, relationships. Alignment isn't about pretending to be positive. It's about becoming honest with yourself. The more honest you become with yourself, the more aligned your life often becomes, which I know is the case for me. What in your life is stressing you out right now? Ask yourself. What do you feel resistance around? What in your life no longer feels like an energetic match for your path forward? These are all great reflection questions. So next, let's move on to what alignment feels like. People often ask, how do I know if something is aligned for me? Alignment usually feels something like a sense of peace, expansion, truth, relief, energy, resonance. Not necessarily easy, but true for you. And if you pay attention to the signs that you may be receiving from your spirit team, as I had been getting for many years and still do on a near daily basis, they will always try to steer you towards the path needed for lessons and growth to get you into a place of alignment. If you'd like me to create a future video on these types of signs that you could be getting, let me know in the comments below. On the other hand, misalignment often feels like things like chronic exhaustion, resentment, people-pleasing, forcing, pretending, performing, constantly betraying yourself. Your body often knows before your mind does. This is why embodiment is so important on your journey. Next, let's discuss practical steps to create a more aligned life. If you're wondering where to even begin in all this, a great place to start is here. Number one, listen to your body. Notice what energizes you, what drains you, what feels expansive, what feels constricting. Your body provides valuable information for you. You just have to listen. Number 2, identify where you're abandoning yourself. Asking questions like, where am I saying yes when I really mean no? Where am I prioritizing everyone else's needs above my own? Where am I shrinking? Next, get curious about your patterns. Explore things like your birth chart, your childhood conditioning, your nervous system patterns, your attachment patterns, your shadow work. Awareness creates choice, and my upcoming shadow work course will help you with this. Number 4, create boundaries. Alignment requires boundaries. Not everyone will like your growth, but that's okay. Boundaries are not rude or uncaring. They are acts of self-love and respect to protect your energy. And this is one area I had to personally work through myself. Like many women who are conditioned to be people pleasers, my personal spirit guides told me years ago that they could see I was working on my boundaries, but that I still needed to get better at them. So even your spirit team, who has nothing but unconditional love for you, wants you to protect your peace and your energy. Because the bottom line is, you are not here to abandon yourself and to basically be a doormat for everyone else. And in order to create meaningful work in this world, you need to have boundaries and not be constantly leaking your energy and feeling depleted, nor can you even manifest anything from that type of energy. So if you want to change your life, that is extremely important. Number 5, follow what feels true. Sometimes alignment doesn't arrive all at once. It's built one honest choice at a time. It's a process of things that you outgrow and release from your life and things that feel aligned that you add in. Next, let's discuss the biggest misconception about alignment. Because the biggest misunderstanding is that alignment means life becomes easy for you. It doesn't. Alignment often asks you to release old identities, old relationships, old beliefs you might have, old patterns, old versions of yourself. And unfortunately, that can sometimes feel uncomfortable. But discomfort doesn't mean that you're off path. Sometimes discomfort is exactly what growth feels like. Much like the anonymous proverb, I believe it was, that says, a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. And human souls came to Earth School for growth and expansion of consciousness. If there's one thing I hope that you take away from this conversation today, it's this: that alignment is not becoming someone else, someone other than who you truly are. Alignment is remembering who you truly are. It's peeling away the conditioning, healing the wounds, regulating the nervous system, questioning inherited beliefs passed down to you, honoring your truth, even if it looks different from anyone else's, and creating a life that reflects the person that you're becoming. The more aligned you become internally, the more your outer life naturally begins reflecting that alignment. Not because you're forcing it, but because you're finally living in truth. And when you're living in that place of alignment, your ability to manifest your dreams becomes so much easier without hitting all of the roadblocks that you may otherwise encounter because you had not yet done the healing work, learning the lessons to now become an energetic match to them. Much like my personal healing journey, where I was prevented from manifesting much of anything until I had done the shadow work and developed the emotional balance and nervous system container to hold those manifestations. Doing the inner work really is the key to your healing and the life that you want. And if this message resonated with you today, I'd love to hear in the comments, what area of your life are you currently trying to bring into greater alignment? And if you're looking for support on your healing journey, then be sure to check out my coaching program, my wellness membership, and many other resources that I have linked for you below. Everything that I create is designed specifically to help women reconnect with themselves, heal from the inside out, and create a life that feels nourishing, authentic, and deeply aligned. I know that once you reach a place of peace and alignment in your life, you will never accept anything less for yourself, and that is my wish for you. And if you enjoyed this video today, don't forget to please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who you think may need this message. It helps the channel grow, and I truly appreciate your support and taking the time to be here today. Thank you for being a part of this community. This is your weekly reminder to do something today that brings you joy. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.